Streaming software or in YouTube itself? Okay. Welcome back to more Auburn iRacing CIL Cup Series action. As always, I'm Micah Farmer, joined again by Keegan Miller, and it's time to turn right today, Keegan. We've got Mexico City, the only road course on the CIL Cup Series schedule, and it should be quite the interesting one today. If the test sessions were anything to go by that I was in with the team, it was quite an adventure as everyone was getting used to this track. These Cup cars notoriously difficult to handle on road courses, so I think it's going to be a little bit of an adventure today, Keegan, as we pull up the standings. It is still Reese Bayham at the top of the standings, not just in the alumni division, but overall. Reese with a 38-point lead over student driver from Northwestern Ohio, Tyler Skozen, in the number 28 car. But it should be a good race today here in Mexico City, Keegan.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, doing the CIL, we're used to calling, oval races and then occasionally on the Wednesdays, the sports car races. But these guys, I mean, you have a mixed bag of guys that compete in both. But some of these guys aren't used to this at all. So we have a fun mixed bag of oval racers and road racers coming out to play today. But yeah, road course action is going to be fun. I mean, last year was the first year the Cup cars went to Mexico City. Big event for them. So iRacing following suit.
Yeah, we're going to be cycling through your Auburn drivers once we start the pace laps here at Mexico, once we finish this warm-up. But as the 5-minute warm-up continues, you can see qualifying spots on your screen. So Pierce Hanley in this 33 car. You mentioned some guys not used to the road courses maybe. Well, Pierce is used to the road courses. The one thing he is not used to is the Next Gen Cup car. So first event of the season for Pierce Hanley in CIL Cup Series. His first event in CIL Sports Car Series, he podiumed earlier this year at Barcelona for the sports car division. So we'll see if he can get some more of that pace today in the Cup car in Mexico. I know you mentioned it was quite the adjustment to his driving style working with these cars as opposed to the much lighter GT3s that he is more used to. But it'll be an adventure today. Your other three Auburn drivers looking to make the race today are Ryan Smith, Andrew McGill, and Logan Smith, all three of whom have already done their qualifying laps as well. As a reminder, the 105% rule today, what that means is you have to be within 105% of the fastest time. And as long as you set that at some point, whether it's practice, qualifying, or warm-up, you're in the race. If you don't quite get there, you're not going to be starting today in Mexico. And it has been a concern for some drivers in this session as the pace differential from the front runners to the back of the field here is, I think, the biggest of any track on the schedule this season.
Yeah, and you mentioned Pierce. It'll be interesting to see how he adjusts because we've heard drivers both in real life coming to the Cup Series and in iRacing talk about the adjustment and just how difficult they go into it, thinking, "Oh, it'll be challenging," but then they come out of the race exhausted, just thinking, "Oh my gosh, that's completely different than anything I've driven, virtual or not." I mean, just a huge adjustment for these cars to be able to turn both left and right, kind of like driving a boat, if you will.
It does feel like driving a boat, especially in that stadium section. I can attest to that, Keegan. I was driving with these guys last night, and the hairpin in the stadium section, the car just does not want to take that turn. It takes quite the effort to get it in. You have to be really careful in all your braking points, too. Engine braking is going to be key to help slow these cars down here, and you cannot lock it up. It is so easy to lock the tires in these next-gen Cup cars, as you mentioned, in real-life NASCAR as well, along with the iRacing circuit. The front of these cars is so finicky when you go to put the brakes on. It can be quite difficult. As that is your 5-minute warm-up done, we will get ready for this race here at Mexico City. 2 minutes to go here, and your entire field will start gridding as we get ready for these pace laps.
All your Auburn drivers are in.
Yeah. We'll start at the top, looking at Reese Bayham right now in fourth. Reese, again, your current points leader, has a 38-point gap, 3 poles, and a win on the season already, 3 podiums as well. It's been a good start of the season for him. Your front row today is Alex Ortega, who was a winner at Kentucky and has been a very fast driver, and then James Bowman, who both almost won CIL sports car at Sebring last week and CIL Cup Series at Darlington, so he's going to be hungry for a win. And then Jake Cummings starting third, who also needs a good run.
Yeah, I mean, so the usual suspects up at the top. Week in and week out, we've seen these guys compete and dominate, and I mean, no surprise that they're up there again. And Bowman, I mean, he's one of the guys who competes in both. So I mean, this is kind of the mix of both worlds for him, starting on the front row. So he's going to be a threat today.
And look at Andrew McGill up here in ninth in the 034. Talking to Andrew, he was a bit worried about the 105% rule as we got closer and closer to this race. But over the last 2 days, Andrew's really found some pace in that car. And look at him starting ninth in front of Pierce Hanley, who will roll off 10th in that number 33 car. You see both those Auburn cars right next to each other here on row number 5 as we pull off the line.
Yeah, Andrew McGill tends to worry a lot and then have really good races. He was sick last week, worried about not being able to keep up the pace, just being sick, and have one of his best finishes of the season. And now he is worrying again in the top 10. So it seems to be when he puts pressure on himself, he kind of rises to his own occasion, if you will.
Yeah, see your top 10 all rolling along right now. Curious to know if this is, because we don't see any other drivers on track. I find it hard to believe that only 10 drivers made the 105% rule, but...
Yeah, they're still listed on the leaderboard. They seem to be coming in and out now with the iRacing. Well, just that one car having network issues. The 08 of Cade Corbin.
Cade Corbin's in now.
See. We have a few cars on pit road. Logan Smith, Auburn's number 34, Logan Smith on pit road.
Yeah, as you see more and more guys starting to load into the session now as we cut through. Here we go. Looking at... It says we're focused on Andrew Voigt right now, but that does not look like Voigt's car as we're just waiting on some more of these guys to load in. There's Andrew Voigt in the 009. Again, more of these cars starting to load in. Mexico City is a bit of a weird track with iRacing. So maybe a possible just connection issue here as we'll still do our best with what we have tonight, but we have seen some connectivity issues over the days here at Mexico, so not entirely unexpected, but obviously less than ideal here as we try to keep track of everyone.
Yeah, a lot of ghosting. Let's hope for our sakes that it's more on our end than it is, the driver's end, and it's not affecting their race all too much. But a lot of ghosting and network issues, as you can see, especially back in the pack. The guys at the front seem to be doing all right so far, but the further down the pack you get, the more popping in and out you have of some drivers. The long pace laps here with this road course. It gives the drivers a chance one final time to get familiar with the corners at very, very low speeds. It's very different, but just getting a feel for them, knowing what's coming next, familiarizing yourself with the track, and just anticipating this restart into turn 1 after this long front straightaway. Heavy braking zone. Should be a lot of fun today. And by a lot of fun, I mean chaos. A lot of chaos.
As the pace car is going to pull off, again, we'll try to get this connectivity issue fixed for you guys after the first lap, but we at least want to bring you this start here at Mexico. So we'll be with Reese Bayham headed down towards turn number 1, and we'll follow along with Bayham as we do appear to have good connection for him. So off we go here at Mexico down towards turn 1. Not the best start for James Bowman in second. Ortega is going to be flying off into the lead towards this first chicane. It's going to be a big test of braking ability down into this first corner as everyone looks to get through cleanly from what we can see. Reese is going to hang on to it in third, going to stay single file, is keeping an eye on your timing tower. Pierce Hanley has moved up well. Pierce all the way up into sixth after that first 3-corner complex, and Andrew McGill still holding on to his 9th place. So as we take this down towards turn number 4, Alex Ortega is going to hold on to the lead. We're going to be single file through the entire top 10 now on the screen as we head towards sector number 2. Bowman still hanging on behind Ortega. This is a very difficult part of the track. Turn 7, you can get track limits here. Turn 8, the braking's awkward. You see Reese going a bit wide there. That's so easy to do. Manages to get it back inside of the tire barrier as there goes Jake Cummings spinning. Pierce Hanley trying to avoid that wreck. Let's cut to Pierce right quick to see if he made it through that okay. As we enter the stadium section. Yep, there's Pierce. Got through just fine. And then Andrew McGill just 2 positions behind Pierce. So your 3 Auburn guys in the top 10 all make it through fairly cleanly. Andrew, a bit of a tank slapper through there. Going to put him under pressure into the final corner from Savignano as we make it through, and Matt Gagnon. But Andrew going to at least keep it going straight out of the final corner. Going to run a little bit wide, but that's okay. You can do that here as we all head back down towards the front stretch. So now what we're going to do for you guys, you're going to see some stuff pop up on the screen. Don't worry about it. We are going to take a look at fixing this connection issue for you guys right quick. So hopefully once we get this reset, we'll have everyone in the field back for you. But again, just Mexico City has caused a little bit of issues for us, and we're seeing if we can rectify that for you guys.
Yeah, and you saw the car Jake Cummins go around. No caution here to road course. Those cars have enough room to get off the track, they spin out, and get back rolling with the safety. Well, obviously, in real life, it's mirrored after the safety of the drivers, but not a threat to the racing here at these road courses when a car goes off screen like that.
There we go.
No cautions.
Okay, we got everyone back for you. So let's cut to the other 2 Auburn drivers that we've not been able to see yet. First, Ryan Smith in 16th, now 17th, looking to be in a battle with Andrew Voigt right now. Ryan in the number 82 car. You see him getting passed by Brian Ferretta. Ferretta's a little bit wide. Ryan was very vocal about this not being his favorite track, but he was worried about the 105% rule, and he's made it, and I think he'll be very happy with that based on what he was talking to me about on Monday night. And then let's cut to Logan Smith down in 21st place. Logan said he was going to start from the pit lane today. You saw him in the pit lane, and it looks like he absolutely did that just to try to stay out of the mess, as now he's right behind Jake Cummings in 21st. So to run you through the penalties for today, Christian Garish had an end-of-line penalty today, as did Ronan Suarez in the number 31, then Trey Lambrecht in the 43 with an end-of-line, Madison Ulrich in the 48 with an end-of-line, Roger Primo in the 88 with an end-of-line, a 60-second hold for Brennan Lyman. That's why you see him 43 seconds behind in 22nd, and then also an end-of-line for Anthony Savignano, though he looks to have dealt with that pretty easily. I wonder if that was a possible misprint, as he looks to be completely fine up there in 7th. But we cut back to Reese here in 4th. We're well and truly underway here now at Mexico. Sorry about that early kink, but we got it worked out. Shout out to Cam Youssef back doing camera, getting that worked out for us. It's Cam's first day today, but he's doing a great job and great thinking on his feet there to get us back in the production. So appreciate that, Cam. Good work back there as we follow along with Reese through the middle sector through 8 and 9. And he's making pretty decent time right now, 6/10 behind Aaron Brown. And this is a battle that we've seen quite a few times at the front. James Bowman and Aaron Brown trying to close on him for second, as right now Brown having to defend from Bayham. But these are 4 guys that have all been up front a lot this season, Keegan, and 4 guys that are decently high in the standings. Obviously, Bayham is your standings leader right now, but Aaron Brown is 7th after his win at Darlington. Alex Ortega has 2 wins on the season so far, so he currently sits 6th in standings. And then James Bowman is currently top 10 as well, 10th in the standings. So all of these guys, major players in the championship. Again, only 4 races to go in the championship at this point. We have today, then we have 2 races at Atlanta, 1 at the new oval and 1 at the 2008 version of Atlanta Motor Speedway, and then the finale is at Homestead. But first, we have to turn right and left today. And so far, the Auburn guys are doing a pretty good job of it. You can see all the practice time has really paid off. Reese in 4th, trying to make his way to 3rd. You see Pierce Hanley in the background back there in 5th place. Andrew McGill has fallen back a little bit, but still nicely holding on to 8th place, 3.1 seconds ahead of Matt Gagnon. And then Ryan and Logan Smith down in 18th and 19th, respectively, still in the top 20. As we'll follow along with Andrew through turn 4 right now. And this part of the track was somewhere that Andrew was talking to me that he really put a lot of work in. Coming in through 5, up to 6 and 7, that's a difficult corner to get right. Turn 7 and 8, I think, are the two corners that require the most finesse here in Mexico. If you put too much input into that brake pedal, you're going to go straight off to the left side through turn number 8, and then now into the stadium section, which has been dubbed everyone's least favorite part of this track this week, Keegan, is you have the first corner, you get to ride that curb a little bit, But then this hairpin in the Cup car, it just feels so clunky. You got to get it turned in. You got to be careful on the throttle. You're down in first gear through a lot of this, then back to first gear through the final corner, picking up throttle off as they drive off the corner and accelerate their way back down the straightaway. So it's a lot of finesse, a lot of careful driving required here in Mexico as 40 laps to go, 5 laps in the books as we make our way along here. Let's jump back up to the front, the battle for the lead. Let's look at Alexander Ortega leading the way right now, but only by about 0.2 of a second. You see those two guys battling together. Bowman, the University of Kentucky driver, and then Alex Ortega for University of Missouri, Kansas City. Keegan, these are two guys that have been pretty fast a lot recently.
Yeah, we talked about just the mixed bag of racers and guys coming from the sports car league and whatnot. But I mean, these guys have been competing all year long, so no surprise to see them up here. And if you're Reese Bayham, you're in a good position to get some good alumni points today because your biggest competitor, Brian Ferretta, we talked about Ryan Smith being worried about the 105 rule. Well, Brian Ferretta did not qualify well and has found himself down in the standings. So Reese Bayham in a good spot just for a good points day, even though he's sitting fourth now, but still competing. And here we go through the stadium section. It feels like every time NASCAR goes to a track that has a stadium section, you think Bowman Gray, the chaos of Bowman Gray. And then the stadium part of this is the chaos track of this track. So every time NASCAR and stadium come together, there's just chaos to be ready, and I'm all here for it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very difficult to there see Bowman very wide through the last corner, taking the Valtteri Bottas line out there. I believe 1 year Valtteri got out there into the wall, but brings it back on track and right in the toe of Alex Ortega as we head down the front stretch. You do see a black flag on your screen for Edward Sanchez right now, so he'll have to come through for a drive-through, and then it was a meatball flag for Aaron Raymond in the 143, and that's why he's in the pit right now. So just to keep you updated on those guys as the battle for the lead rages on. But let's jump back down to Bayham in P4, trying to make his way up into P3. About 7/10 behind Aaron Brown right now, as you see him in the back of your screen. And here we go, taking a look at Reese down into turn number 4. Reese all week has said that he feels pretty okay here, but he always feels like there's a little bit more that he can unlock in his pace. And over the long run, we've seen him be extremely consistent in a lot of these events this year. He's very good at continuing to press forward. He doesn't make as many mistakes as some of these other guys, really keeps it clean. And last week at Darlington, it felt like he got caught up in about every wreck at that place, and none of it was really his fault, apart from one incident. So, looking to make a clean day today. You mentioned his point situation, and for Weta, as you said, down in 11th right now, but even in just the overall standings, Tyler Skozen, the closest driver to him in the points, is still 2 positions behind him, and he has a teammate buffer there in Pierce Hanley. So this is the added bonus, too, of Auburn bringing 5 guys to this race instead of 4. It's more guys to take points off of guys like Skozen and Ferretta, because now you got Pierce up there as another guy,
yeah, especially
blocking those
bringing
positions.
a guy like Pearson who specializes in this kind of racing. It's almost like having a wildcard trick up your sleeve.
We brought SVG this week.
Yeah, just to drop him in and go, all right, have fun, boys. But yeah, you mentioned Reese trying to find the extra speed, trying to find the extra grip, push the limit a little bit extra. Well, that's the trick with these Cup cars is in some of the road course cars, you can kind of push it a little bit, get away with it. You can't get away with very much of these Cup cars. They're so easy just to push it. Oh, I pushed it too hard, now I'm around, right? And we've seen it 3 times just during this race. Cars go around, taking it too wide and spinning out. You've got to be very, very, very close to that line and almost perfect with these cars.
Yeah, and another officiating note for today. Normally with NASCAR races, you see the end-of-line penalties for incidents and contact, as we've seen so far this season. Due to the nature of road course racing and less cautions, most of those penalties are going to be applied via a drive-through, like you saw with Edward Sanchez, why he's currently in 21st. So a little bit of background on that for today as well. Maybe some more motivation to keep it clean from the guys today.
Yeah, you do not want to drive through at this pit stop, let me tell you. I mean,
it's an extremely slow and extremely long pit road,
yeah.
And it's on what might be the longest straightaway on any track. Well, definitely in this series, the longest straightaway on any track, because I believe it is slightly longer than the Daytona backstretch, the front stretch here in Mexico City.
It's longer than Talladega.
Well, we don't race at Talladega in the CIL Cup Series. So
if you're a NASCAR fan watching, just for reference, it is longer than the backstretch at Talladega, the super stretch.
Yes, the Alabama Gang super stretch, as it is colloquially known, as Reese takes his way back onto the front stretch, still losing a little bit of time to Aaron Brown. It's down to 1 second, so as that gap extends, we'll take a look back up at the front in the battle for the lead, where James Bowman is still keeping Alex Ortega honest. Ortega has the fastest lap right now, but Bowman's right on him, just 0.4 behind, as these two guys so far look to be the class of the field here at Mexico City. Already 4.2 seconds to the next closest car in Aaron Brown in third.
Yeah, and let's run on board with James Bowman and get his POV because there's some tire barriers here that I'm going to show you just how close these cars are cutting it to the limit and how close they're getting to these tire barriers on corner entry and corner exit and just really, really finessing the way, trying to get everything they can. Look, just oh so close. You have no room for error. Got to push it all the way to the limit. You know you have to do it lap after lap. Because if you don't, you just don't set your car up for the next corner and you're done.
Yeah, as we continue riding on board with your leader here, I think where this is going to be especially fun to watch is as we get to the stadium section. So we'll stay on board through the stadium and then hop back to the off-board once we get to the front straightaway. But as we follow Ortega through here, you see you clip the curb, and then through this section, it feels like you're turning blind almost, especially on just the single monitor setups, which I'd be willing to bet not too many of these guys are using. A lot of triples going on, but still, when you come into a corner like this, it's such a difficult place to see through there, and then you have to be so careful on your throttle pickup. You're in first gear off of that corner as we go back to the beautiful off-board shot here as Bowman trying to close in. He has it down to 3/10 as we head towards the front stretch. Speaking of 3/10, we're going to cut back to fourth place as Bayham has it down to 2/10 on Aaron Brown. So we'll see if we get a move from the Auburn driver into turn one as Bowman stays behind Ortega. Here comes Bayham.
Looks like he
down
wants
the
to.
front stretch.
There he goes.
He's poking his nose out to the inside. We'll see if he does anything. He's going to pull back into line, just letting Aaron Brown know that he's there. And again, with the brakes on these Cup cars, you take too much, they'll absolutely bite you. So I think it's a good idea to just bide your time, make sure you know you're going to be comfortable to make that move when you can, as though a little bit of a rough chicane there for Reese through 1, 2, and 3. Now 0.8 seconds back, and Pierce is closing on both of these guys, by the way, too. That was as high as 3 seconds earlier, now down to 2.5. Number 33 is closing in. Max Verstappen, anyone?
Yeah, this is what he's good at. But for Reese, it's a long race. You don't want to force him to too early. You have 36 laps left. Just kind of keep letting him know that you're there. Keep applying pressure and just race the track for now and let the race come to you. There's no need to force it and get your car or both your cars out of shape for no reason and then risk getting a penalty on top of that. So just run your race and Pierce fell back.
Yeah, let's take a look at Hanley, see what happened to the number 33. As here he is, you think just a moment through the middle sector where he had to save that thing because no damage on it. So you wonder if just a bit of moment of loose through the middle sector. Again, today we're having a little bit of an issue with our replay system, so we can't quite bring that look to you as normal, but still, we can tell that something happened to Pierce in the middle sector. Based on the way these corners function and when his names start dropping down, I'd be willing to bet he got on the power a bit too early through that chicane of 8 and 9, maybe almost lost it off the edge of there and had to hold on
now,
to it.
I will say when he dropped a red stopwatch icon, maybe track limits.
Yeah, that is track limits there. So
that track limits.
That marks an invalid lap or an abnormal lap. So off track for Hanley is what happened there is he can just try to push his way back forward. Again, this car in front of him is not for position. That's Edward Sanchez, who currently runs 21st after a black flag drive-through. But let's take a look at Logan Smith in 14th, number 34 car. Logan's been making his way steadily forward so far today. Obviously started in the pits, didn't want to get in all the melee that early, but has got himself moving up pretty quickly, up into 13th, and has been closing on Cade Corbin pretty quickly. This was a 1.5-second gap, as you see the brake rotors glowing into turn 1 there, but Logan's closed it down. You see Corbin opens up a little bit through turns 1, 2, and 3, but where Logan's continually making up his time is this middle sector, so we'll follow along with him through that part of the track.
I think we had a disconnect or an issue with Aaron Brown, who was in third. He's just disappeared off the leaderboard completely.
Well, we'll see if he comes back, but you're right about that. I did not even notice that, but Aaron Brown is no longer up in third, so we'll try to keep an eye on if the 16 car comes back onto the leaderboard, but maybe a disconnect issue, as you mentioned, for the 16. We'll see if we can get a look at Aaron right now. We'll see if we can take a look at the 16 car and see if it just doesn't go to anyone, which would indicate a disconnect.
All right.
Yeah, you see.
Awesome, yeah.
So it looks like disconnect issue for Aaron Brown as we'll go back to Logan. But that has given Reese a podium position right now. He runs in third, all alone, about 9 seconds back from the lead, but that battle for the lead is still pretty close at just 0.3 seconds. So let's jump back up to the top of the leaderboard and follow these guys through Sector 2 again. As you see, just the consistency to be able to take all the limits of the track you can. That was a great turn 7 for Alex Ortega, just really opening up that gap on Bowman. But Bowman coming back at him out of turn 9 is a good exit for the driver, the number 18, as they make their way down to the stadium section. This is a difficult place to pass. Not a place I think you're going to see a lot of passes today. Just the nature of that braking zone. But here's a passing zone. Here comes James Bowman to the inside. A little bit of contact. Again, it's hard to keep these cars going straight, but Ortega's going to stay on the inside. They're going to bring it back to single file through the last turn. Bowman looking for the switchback. Bowman's going to cut to the inside. Ortega's going to try to block that off. Some good, clean racing between these two guys.
He'll be able to draft down this front stretch.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you see him right in the tire tracks, that 32 in front of him. Bowman looking for an opportunity into the first chicane. You got to think he pulls out. There he is. Bowman looking to the left. Down in the chicane, he's going to back off as they're going to go nose to tail through 1, 2, and 3 once again. Bowman a little bit wider, tries to open up and cut back, and tries to get that run off of turn number 3. I think he's got a decent run. Let's stay with him down this straightaway here towards turn number 4. That long hairpin where you wrap around the boards here. The national course, obviously, does not do the typical complex down there that you see the F1 cars take here, but this is the NASCAR layout as we head back into sector number 2.
Yeah, and Bowman just doing an incredible job lap after lap, putting pressure and keeping pressure on Ortega. Not forcing a move, not trying to pass in a non-passing zone. He knows where he's at. He just, every now and then he shows his nose to the inside, like, hey, if I want to, I can, but we're gonna settle in for now. There's still over 30 laps left. We're just gonna settle in. I'm right behind you, buddy. So keep looking in your mirror. You'll make a mistake, and I'll be there to capitalize.
Yeah, about a quarter of the way through this one, so no need to push right now. Just stay right on your guys. There will be pit stops today. A little bit of a tank slapper there for Ortega out of that corner. So you got to keep an eye on your tires as well as we continue to run this one. It will be big management. Every single road course you come to with this next-gen Cup car, managing the rears is always so key. You burn the rear tires off of it, it's going to be a long day from that point on for these guys. Let's take a look at Andrew McGill in 7th as he has Brian Ferretta closing in on him.
I was about to mention Brian Ferretta. He started the race outside the top 15, has worked up to 8th, and is about to make a move on Andrew McGill.
McGill goes a bit wide through there, going to have to defend. It's going to be difficult in the last corner. I think Ferretta's going to have the preferred line, and Ferretta's going to take that one as Andrew just has to concede there. Went a little bit too wide to that hairpin. We mentioned it's so difficult. It's easy to understeer through there, and Andrew going to give up P7, but still he has a good gap. He's pulled away from that gaggle of Gagnon, Cummings, and Goldschmidt behind him, although I think Jake Cummings might be one of the fastest drivers in this field today. We saw him spin. He was all the way down in 18th earlier, and he is rocketed back up, driving through this field, currently in 10th, and looking for a move on Matt Gagnon. Let's cut to the driver, number 95 right now, in Jake Cummings. You see him all over the back of Matt Gagnon on your picture right now. He looks to have some great speed, and we see him in the CIL Sports Car Series as well. Another one of these guys that does both. He is a GTP driver, drives the Cadillac GTP car, the best sounding car in all of motorsports, in my opinion, Keegan, other than the Garage 56 Camaro.
Exactly, yeah.
Here goes Cummings to the inside of turn 4. He's going to get Gagnon, I think, here pretty easily. Yeah, there he goes. The march forward for the Converse College number 95 continues as Cummings has dropped down in points a little bit. Just 3 weeks ago, or 3 races ago, was P2 in the standings, and now finds himself P9 after a couple of rough outings, but continuing to work his way forward, hoping for a clean day today. Obviously, he's already had the issue, but trying to work his way back forward for the recovery drive, and it'll be Andrew McGill next up for him.
Yeah, he's really going to need today to capitalize and work back up to the field to get back in a point situation. I'm sure coming into this, being one of those guys who runs both leagues, he thought this could be the day to kind of get his groove back and get some momentum in the points. And obviously having to spin early did not help. But like you mentioned, just plowing through the field along with Brian Ferretta, both those guys just, we see them at the top of the field every week. And, I mean, they started back, but they're on a march.
Yeah, they absolutely both are. Let's take a look at Pierce now, up in 5th place, as you see the battle for the lead again. James Bowman still trying to work, but here's Pierce. He's running by himself right now, about 2.6 seconds behind Anthony Savignano in 4th place, but obviously had the moment earlier, trying to find his way back through to gain that position back. But I think what's important here, still in front of Tyler Skozen, so still taking points off of Bayham's points rivals in this position, as now we'll cut back to the front of the field and look at the battle for the lead as Ortega's lead is down to just 0.2 we head through the stadium section again. I think Bowman's been a little faster through this portion of the track. We'll see if he can get a run off the last corner. If you can get a run here, it's such a pivotal moment because with how long this front straightaway is, if you have the speed on a guy, you're going to be in a really good position into turn one as we look back from the front of Alex Ortega's car at this rear chase view, looking at Bowman closing and closing and closing as they head towards the braking zone. He's going to poke his nose out to the left, lose the slipstream. Then he's going to duck back in line. Didn't quite feel good enough about making the move. We got some smoke in front. Imagine that's a lockup.
Oh, he put the bumper to him a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit of contact there, but that's all fair in CIL Cup racing. Just a little bit of a, hey, I think I'm faster than you.
Especially in these Cup cars. A little different style of racing than those sports cars. You're allowed to, kind of use up your opponent, as they say.
Bowman thinking about it again as it was Andrew Voigt in front that had the off-track moment in the 009. So that gives you a bit of an idea of the speed of these guys. They've already lapped from 17th on down and still trying to make their way forward as it's the 16th place car. Penn State driver Andrew Voigt right in front of him through the middle sector. And just keep an eye on the closing speed of these two up to Voigt. I think it's really going to stand out, especially when we get into the stadium section here in just a moment. You see Voigt pulling over. Good racing etiquette there just to get out of the way for the blue flags as, once again, these two nose to tail into the stadium section.
Yeah, and Bowman just seems to get to his bumper every time coming through the stadium section.
I like that idea right there. Looking to the outside, trying to dive back in, seeing if he can get a new lane. We'll see if he can get a run off this last corner again. Sorry to interrupt you there, Keegan, but I saw him doing something different. And that's not something we've seen a lot of today. It's been a lot of following in the tire tracks, keeping the same lines, but Bowman now trying to search around a little bit. I think he's starting a little bit impatient behind this number 32.
Yeah, it looks like it. And, let's see if he pulls out this time.
He's definitely close. Only a 10th down. Do we see the braking move this time? No, he tucks back into line again. Just trying to force a mistake. See the brake rotors glowing on both of these cars as they continue to work their way forward. The next car in front of these guys, I believe, is Ryan Smith. There's Ryan up the track a little bit in his number 82 car, running 15th today. I think if you would have talked to Ryan a couple days ago in the test session, he would have taken 15th after a track that he said he was not a fan of at all. It's been a little bit of a struggle, but absolutely making the best of it right now is Ryan. As under 30 laps to go, still this battle for the lead rages on. They're going to get to Ryan here. Good move from Ryan to pull off the track there. More quality racing etiquette, as that's a good move from Ryan. Both the leaders are going to definitely appreciate that one. As here we come into the stadium section again. Do we see any kind of creative line from Bowman this time? They're still right on each other, going into the hairpin this time, and Bowman poking to the outside again, trying to cut back. He's going to be right on the back bumper of that Ford still through this entire complex into the last corner.
It's like these cars are one car. They're just following nose to tail, front suit. Last time we saw Bowman try a little something different. I think he was just trying to set him up. I don't think he was going to go for a move there. But wherever that blue and yellow Ortega car goes, Bowman's just right there.
Yeah, we're taking a look at Pierce Hanley again, and Hanley has taken a second and a half out of Anthony Savagnon in the last couple laps as Jake Cummings just got by Andrew McGill to move up into 8th place, but we'll stay with Pierce here down the front stretch. Under a second now, you see that car squirming under acceleration in the last corner. It's so difficult to put the power down here when you're not in a straight line. These cars do not want to cooperate, but you see Pierce has gapped Tyler Skozen behind him. So there's some great pace in this number 33 car right now, trying to get up to Savignano. And I will say, for a guy who had a bit of a rough start to the season, Savignano showed some great pace each of the last two races.
Yeah, they kind of been two unorthodox tracks last two races, but some of these guys thrive at those tracks. If you really have to take care of tires, manage a lot of different things at once, and really push your car to the limit and find the edge. Some guys just like that better than say in Atlanta or Daytona, and they just they take those opportunities and capitalize on them.
Pierce trying to continue to close as these guys make their way through the middle of Sector 2. Again, it's such a technical part of this track. The stadium section's clunky, but this part can feel fun, even in the Cup car, which is extremely heavy. Just picking your lines, really almost brushing those tire barriers and taking as much of the track as you can. That's the part where you really can maximize the track width and make the best of all of that asphalt and curbing that you have available.
Yeah, it's all about just, like we've mentioned time and time again, just, use the track, race the track, and Oh, and Bowman's got by Ortega. Let's shoot up to the battle for the lead.
Yeah, you see, through this is 1, 2, and 3. They're side by side right now. Bowman got the run off the last corner. Ortega trying to defend, but Bowman around the outside. He's going to have a little bit of pace, but Ortega defends well on the inside. We'll follow him down towards turn number 4. Ortega still defending the inside. Bowman's on the outside. I think Bowman's a nose ahead, but Ortega has the better line into this turn 4, and I think you're going to see that pay off. The University of Missouri Kansas City driver holds on to his lead as Bowman had the run down the front stretch. You saw him finally take that shot into the braking zone, and once again, as you mentioned, Keegan, these two guys feel like they have identical pace today.
Yeah, and I think Bowman, I think he wants a scenery change. He's tired of looking at that yellow bumper. He wants to look at some clean open spaces. I mean, we mentioned the impatience a little bit, just applying pressure, but now he's applying a lot more than pressure. He's applying his bumper right next to the 32 of Ortega, trying to get around him.
Yeah, we saw them side by side. We've seen a couple little bumps, but I don't think anything over the line from Bowman for sure.
It's all great racing.
They now head towards the final corner. We'll see if James Bowman can get another run out of here. As let's jump back. I believe Pierce had an issue pretty much as soon as we cut away from him, as he's behind Tyler Skozen now, 2.1 seconds. So see if there's any damage on that 33. There doesn't appear to be, so I would bet just a spin.
And that was the same section last time we saw him have a moment.
Yeah, a little bit of an off-track moment for the number 33, but is that damage on the front end of the car, Keegan?
Maybe a little bit, maybe not. I don't think enough to affect the handling of the race car.
It doesn't appear caved in. So he scuffed it a little bit as we look from this rear chase cam. So he clearly,
and it's fixed.
Yeah. With the magic of editing,
yeah.
As Pierce heads back down the front stretch, you saw a little bit of scuff there, but looks to be okay in back running. I expect that he'll chase down Skozen as Savignano's in the pits. So Savignano in the pits now. I didn't see if there was a black flag indicator on that 99. We saw him make contact at Darlington quite a few times, so I'd be curious if that's a scheduled pit stop or if that had something to do with the damage on Pierce's nose, but I did not see a black flag, so we'll assume that it was just an innocuous moment from Pierce and then Savignano pitted. But we'll jump back to the lead here as James Bowman. Goodness. Smoke in front. We'll see if that's an issue. I believe someone just locked up into the hairpin. Yep, no cars off, so just a big lockup there as Bowman all over Alex Ortega, as we've seen for this entire race, staying right behind him. Out of the final corner, these guys still making their way down to the front stretch.
Yeah, and you mentioned pits. I mean, if you're looking to take the undercut, we're about 2 to 3 laps from pitting. Maybe even earlier for some of these guys back in the field. And maybe if you're Ferwetta or Pierce Hanley, come get some tires and try the undercut, see if it works. Coming up on the halfway mark of this race.
Here goes Bowman again. Bowman to the inside to go through 1, 2, and 3. The 18 looking to make the move this time. It'll be the outside for turn 2. There goes Ortega. Bowman back to the inside for 3. Ortega gets the run off the corner around the outside. He defends well. Bowman tried again, but he didn't quite have enough. And Keegan, you know who I have my eye on right now? Look at where Jake Cummings is already. 0.7 of a second behind Brian Ferwetta. He's pulled out 6 seconds on Andrew McGill. The 95 is looking like Lightning McQueen right now.
And speaking of the undercut, if you're Jake Cummings, I really think that would help him out. Maybe in about 3 laps, come get tires, be one of the first guys on fresh tires, and just go hammer down and run some laps and get some laps on these guys with these fresh tires, and we'll probably find him in a very good spot.
Here comes Hanley again, looking to make a move on Tyler Skozen. We know he's much faster than the 28 car today. We've seen him make the move a couple times. Is thinking about it again down at a turn 4. He'll stay in line, stay behind the driver of the 28. But yeah, if you wanted to cut this race in half, you'd pit with about 22 to go. So maybe you see pit stops in that area. As Pierce going to stay right behind Skozen through this middle sector. We've seen the 33 car. I think he has top 5, or obviously top 5 pace. I think he has top 3 pace in that car today. Just has had a couple off-track moments that I think have cost him some time as he tries to get back onto the back bumper of this 28. And this is the part where I think Pierce's road course experience really helps him out through the stadium section. Compared to some of these other guys, maybe it feels a little bit more natural for Pierce having to hustle and harry a car around a place like this. You see Skozen wide through there. That'll compromise him through the second to last corner. Now into the last corner, Hanley going to be right behind him. They stay nose to tail out of the final corner and back to the front straightaway.
Yeah, and I mean Pierce, we've had a few moments from him, but it'd be fun to watch him get up in the top three and race around, see what he's got with those guys. Because I mean, we've seen the field him, and we'll probably see it in a few laps. If Jake Cummings catches up to him before they all pit, because I mean,
Here goes Cummings on Ferretta out of the last corner. Man, that 95 is flying right now as he is on his way down towards turn number 1. You see Andrew McGill's under a little bit of pressure from Colby Goldschmidt behind him. Just 2.3 seconds back as Goldschmidt, I believe, lost some time there.
yeah.
You see McGill, that's a lap car behind him, actually. Excuse me. That is the Edward Sanchez mobile, the number 26, right behind him.
So we'll really see what Pierce has in about a few laps. If Jake Cummings can knock this 5 second gap off, obviously pit stops coming up should affect that. But I mean, it'll be fun to see what Pierce has against one of the guys who we think has the fastest car in Jake Cummings, and see just the speed Pierce has.
Trying to work his way by Skozen again right now through this middle sector, and we know Pierce has the pace. We've seen it. You wonder if maybe the couple of moments he's had have put a little bit of shock through these tires, maybe struggling with grip a little bit more than he would like, as Cummings already just 4.5 seconds back of these guys, and that purple and black car, I think, is going to keep getting bigger in the mirror of these two guys as they continue to fight. There goes Skozen wide. This will be an opportunity for Hanley. He's going to stay around the outside. He should have the momentum. There he goes. Hanley through the last corner is going to get himself up into 4th place and leave Tyler Skozen behind, back onto the front stretch. Again, more point buffer for Reese Bayham up in 3rd as Pierce Hanley gets by Skozen. And I think as well for Bayham right now, he has to be thinking, well, if Jake Cummings can get by as well, that's even more points for me, as Cummings has some great pace. But Bayham all alone right now, as I say, all by myself. 14 seconds behind these top 2 drivers, then 21 seconds ahead of Hanley. So he is in a world of his own right now. Just some lap traffic around him as he continues to make his way through the middle sector. But this is what Reese does so well: consistent, clean driving, and you're seeing it again today, all alone in Mexico City.
Yeah, man, I know it gave him position, but I wonder if he misses Aaron Brown. You know, he had someone to race, had someone to kind of talk to with his car, and then poof, he's gone, and now, you know, like you mentioned, just all alone. But let's see what he does strategy wise, because I think he's the first car. You see Bowman and Ortega are neck and neck in a battle.
Wesley Shaw taking an adventure there.
But Bayham's really the car that can kind of shake it up if he wants to with strategy. So we'll see. I mean, we're at the halfway point pretty much now.
Yeah.
So we'll see what these guys have as far as pit stops.
Back in the front now. Ooh, a little twitch under braking from James Bowman. You see him go wide through 1, but manages to cut it back and keep it under control. And those are the moments where it looks pretty innocuous off-board. Trust me, Keegan, in the cockpit, you feel like you were about to wreck.
Yeah.
When the back of the car twitches like that under braking in these things, you really have to hold on to the wheel well. And he did extremely well to correct that back to the racing line after that moment, too, cutting back after going a little wide there. He stays glued to this back bumper of the 32 car.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like a train. It's almost like they chain these cars together, and this is how they practice all week. I mean, I don't know if you've ever been to your local track. My local track, when I was a kid, Mobile International Speedway, had something called chain racing, where the front car would have the gas, the rear car would have the brakes, and they'd race together via chain. That's what this looks like.
So we have our first taker of, I think, the faster guys in this race, Brian Ferretta, on pit road. But just as a reference, we see him on pit road. He's just now fallen out of the top 10. He's about to be lapped. The pace of this top 2 is outrageous right now. Both of these guys is James Bowman pits. So
I like the call. So now I think he forces the hand. If you're Ortega, you got to come this lap.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's stay on board with James Bowman as we go down pit road, see if we get a tire change for this number 18. You would expect it, but just want to make sure we have all our ducks in a row on strategy here to keep everything straight as we'll stay with the 18. Here he comes into his pit box. That number 2 pit. There you see the tires. And we see the right sides as well. Right sides too. So 4 tires for James Bowman, as we did expect. But
wow, what a stop from the Invisible Pit Crew.
Yeah, Invisible Pit Crew doing great, honestly. They are not getting paid enough. As Anthony Savignano is closing in on Matt Gagnon. Again, Savignano had a really early pit stop. I think he probably pitted as soon as his fuel window opened, is what I would guess, to make it to the end of the race in this one. And using those fresh tires, he's trying to drive his way back through. looking to get by the number 40 of Gagnon, has been a pretty consistent driver so far this season. As Savignano looking to make the move down the front stretch here. Got a pretty good run out of the final corner. I don't know that he's going to be quite close enough, but he might set himself up for a move into 4 if he can stay behind through this first complex of 3 corners. You see, thinking about a move to the inside, is he going to make that move? There goes Savignano. I said I didn't think he'd be close enough. He said, no, I'm fine. Went all the way
I think
by.
that's just the new tires.
Yeah, it is.
Get a little bit later on the braking and get better drive off the corner.
As we're starting to see some of your Auburn guys in the pits too. Ryan Smith in 17th pits. Andrew McGill from a top 10 position also pits. Finds himself in 11th now. There's Ryan and Andrew. You see, Andrew's almost lapped Ryan at this point, but
Ortega's on pit road. Let's jump to Ortega and see where he comes out in relation to Bowman.
Yeah.
Which Bowman, by the way, only dropped down to 3rd after this long pit road that we've mentioned. Which just shows you how far out they were.
There goes Reese on your screen. You see he'll take the lead. You expect him to pit pretty soon. As into the pits comes Alex Ortega. Let's jump to the 18 car, James Bowman, currently running 3rd. So we can see as he comes by. He's going to be.
I think he's going to snag the lead.
I think he's in the lead. James Bowman by the pit exit. And where is the 32? He's nowhere to be found. James Bowman, the undercut to his advantage. And he goes through into 2nd place. As you see, Hanley is now behind him. Hanley yet to pit. Jake Cummings yet to pit as well. Those 2 guys in 3rd and 4th right now as Cummings has gotten by Skosen in short order and now just 1.3 behind Hanley. That 95, I still think, is probably the only other car on the pace of your 2 leaders today.
I think you've got to pit this lap. If you don't pit this lap, I think you kind of miss your window. We saw how good it was for James Bowman. If you're Jake Cummings, I mean, you're like 2-3 seconds behind him, but that's without a pit. So you've got to come and get these tires immediately.
Yeah, and looking at the time gap on your screen, let's see, that is 2, 4, 6, 7, about, 8.5 seconds from James Bowman down to Alex Ortega right now. So you want to know what the difference in 1 lap is. Assuming there were no mistakes on the in lap from Ortega, that's about what your undercut difference is between these guys right now, as James Bowman has pulled a blinder there from the Kentucky strategy team.
Yep, and there's Baham. I would expect everyone behind him who hasn't pit to pit. That means Hanley and Cummings to come this lap and get tires.
Yeah, I would expect Skosen in as well. I think Logan Smith is also yet to pit in 8th, possibly. I do not believe he was ahead of Ferwetta at the time. So we'll keep an eye on the timing ladder as those guys continue to make their way by. Cummings and Hanley both stay out. So you wonder for Pierce if this is a little bit of the sports car background where we've seen in CIL sports cars, a lot of the strategy is more push till the end and use the fresh tires at the end. And we saw that at Sebring. Obviously, it's not as much about tires there. It's more about lessening your fuel window. But here, you wonder if they're thinking, hey, well, we can get fresh tires on at the end and close back in on these guys, try the overcut strategy. Obviously, you're going to lose time on the front end, but especially with the pace that Jake Cummings has had all day, I wonder if he thinks he can gain that back as Tyler Skosen into the pits as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point, they've got to be trying a different strategy and just, you're committed at this point. So just keep your strategy, run your race, and hope it works out for the best. And I mean, Cummings, after the spin lap 1, this is kind of playing with house money a little bit.
Well, you know what they say, if you follow the leader, you're going to follow the leader. So I like at least trying something different if you know you're that fast. As Logan Smith still out here running in 7th, as maybe Logan has pit and we missed it. I know Andrew and Ryan have both been in the pits. Pierce yet to pit. We saw Reese pit down in 5th right now. Only one I'm not sure on is Logan. I do not believe he was in front of Brian Ferwetta before the pit stop. So
I do not believe he's pitted.
Still expecting Logan down pit road. Skosen is going to come off the pit. So yeah, definitely yet to pit for Logan Smith as Tyler Skosen is now behind him. But here comes Pierce into the pits as we see Hanley dropping down the order there, but that is on pit road. So James Bowman again, your leader right now. Jake Cummings still yet to pit. Not sure what the plan is for Cummings, although is there a possibility that he spun and pitted instantly? I don't think he would have had enough fuel, even if he did that. But he's still in 2nd place, 6.4 back. Huge lockup from Savignano. Logan going to have to be careful here as number 99 putting on a smoke show into the hairpin of the stadium section as we'll look at Logan here. Logan going to keep staying out. moving right along as Ferretta's all over the back of him. I would expect the 248 to go by. There he goes to the inside as Ryan Smith is still running in 18th right now. And then your other Auburn drivers, I see Andrew McGill is in 9th. There's Logan Smith still in 7th right now. Again, we think we're waiting on Logan to pit still, as he is probably going to drop back behind Andrew, who's right now 19 seconds now behind him. Then Pierce Hanley running 5th off of pit road, Reese Bayham running 4th, and then here's your podium right now. Jake Cummings just 0.6 of a second behind Ortega. He has just been passed for 2nd place.
Yeah, and Ortega flew by him. I mean,
it's that tire differential.
Yeah.
I think Cummings has to come down pit road here. And he stays out again. The number 95 is determined to stay out as long as he can. You got to think he's just hoping he can absolutely blitz these guys in the last 15 laps with some fresh tires. It's a bold call. I don't hate trying to do something different because I think he believes he's on the pace of these leaders, which I don't think I'd deny if they're all on equal tires. So we'll see what happens as Edward Sanchez taking a tour of Mexico off the edge there. And Pierce is going to go by him. Oh, Pierce can loop it. Pierce loops it through the hairpin in the stadium section as you see Logan go by him as Pierce going to get it pointed back the right direction. Loses 3 positions there from 5th down to 8th.
Yeah, we mentioned the talent in the road course prowess of Pierce, but that's his 3rd moment today where he's just lost in a corner or overdrove a corner. So
well, it's a matter of getting used to the Cup car too.
Yeah.
It's such a difficult transition from all the grip you get in a lot of these GT3s to essentially a boat in this next-gen Cup car through some of these corners. So sticking with Pierce here, he is still in the top 10 and 8th as we now have an Auburn train, 7th, 8th, and 9th. Logan, Pierce, and Andrew McGill getting close to the back of your top 10 here. But just as a reminder, Reese Bayham still top your Auburn running order in 4th, which should be 3rd once Cummings pits as Hanley looking to get back on Logan Smith. As Hanley going to try to set up this pass on his Auburn teammates as we head into sector number 2. Again, Logan a little bit slower right now, has what we think are those older tires. So through 6 and 7 right now, and this part of the track so difficult to do anything with. You see some front end damage on Logan's car as well. You got to think that's not helping through this sector of the track. And I would expect Hanley to go by sometime soon here into the stadium section, as Logan going to stay over to the left and Pierce going to go by into the stadium section, over that curb, through the corner now, back into the hairpin once again, up into 7th this time. Keeps it pointed in the right direction through the second to last corner, and now through the final corner goes Pierce Hanley. As Jake Cummings is still out there on the track. You have Brian Ferretta now looking to make a move on Anthony Savignano. That's a big block from Savignano down the front stretch. These two guys all over each other. Savignano defending, now cutting back to the outside, now kind of floating through the middle of the track, looking like he's slalom skiing towards turn 1 to Savignano. Not the best racing etiquette there. As Ferretta going to stick a nose in. He's going to get the nose in. He's going to go around the outside and not going to quite be able to get the run. I think he went a bit too wide and got choked off.
Yeah.
As Savignano did not leave a car's width to the wall out there, and Ferretta's going to have to relinquish that spot and stay in 6th for now as we head back through turn number 4. And there's Logan Smith in the pits, so Logan will drop down a bit, but he will have much fresher tires than the guys around him. So I would expect to see Logan climb up a few positions as we get towards the end of this race. But staying with Ferretta and Savignano, you get a great onboard shot. Savignano wide through number 8. We saw him spin it. Spins off to the left. He's sideways in the middle of the track. Let's jump back and take a look at that from Andrew McGill, who will be going towards that incident in the 034. As here comes Andrew through 6 and 7 as he gets to 8 and 9. We'll see if Savignano's got going by now. As here comes McGill through 8 and 9. Track looks to be clear in front of him now, so Savignano is back in the pits.
Yeah,
Savignano just reset it.
He just took the toe.
Yeah, took the toe out of frustration. So that'll bring Andrew up into 7th place, Pierce up into 6th. Again, we're still waiting on the pit stop from Jake Cummings up in 3rd. I still, even if he pit instantly after he spun on like lap 2, I just do not think you can make it to the end from there.
No, I think he's coming down pit road, but I mean, at this point, if you're gonna run this strategy, you got to run this strategy. You can't second guess yourself and pit earlier than you want to. I mean, I think he comes the next 4 laps, but at this point, there's no point pitting now. You've got to see this strategy through to the end.
Well, he does have a big gap behind him. You got to think even if he pits now, he'll still come out up in front of McGill, surely. And then with a 32-second gap back to Ferwetta in 5th, maybe he'll be around that, but he still keeps going. Yeah, I wonder if the plan is to run this thing out of fuel and then pit then, take the least amount of fuel you can, get new tires, and just try to fly with it. But again, back out front, the undercut from James Bowman has been a masterstroke from the Kentucky driver. Now has a 7-second lead over Alex Ortega. So 2 cars that look joined at the hip for the vast majority of the first half of this race, now nowhere close to each other, is comfortable lead out front for James Bowman, who's got to be thinking, okay, just no yellows, no cataclysmic disasters this week, and I should be on to finally get that elusive win.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm going to say this for what it's worth. Ortega does have 1 lap fresher tires if that comes down to it at the end, but with a 7-second gap, I don't think it matters.
Yeah, I think it's going to be difficult to make that time back up as we take a look at Bayham again here. 7.8 seconds behind Jake Cummings, so really still all by himself, has 32 seconds back to Ferwetta behind him, and is on pretty solid pace right now as he continues to make his way through this middle sector. Again, I feel like we say it a lot, but just steady and solid, are the 2 words you can use consistently to describe Reese Bayham, along with extremely fast, as he's been up near the front. Let's take a look at Colby Goldschmidt here. The 04 making a move on Wesley Shaw, that car right behind him there. As you saw, a little bit of a track limits moment, but Colby gets through up into 11th place, so some fighting just outside of the top 10 here. These guys about 5.5 seconds behind Logan Smith, who's currently the end of your top 10 at the moment. And a little championship check-in for you guys as well. We mentioned Bayham running 4th. Well, his closest adversaries right now, Tyler Skozen, is running down in 8th at the moment. He's 2nd in the championship. Ferwetta, who's 3rd in the championship and 2nd in the alumni division to Bayham, currently runs in 5th. So Reese, again, ahead of the guys he needs to be ahead of right now, as, Sanchez going on another adventure over through the hairpin. It's been a rough day for the 26 car today. We've seen him in multiple incidents, had a black flag, just trying to keep all the fenders on that thing, is riding with Hanley down onto the front stretch, who is back in a fairly comfortable 6th, looking to push forward towards Ferwetta, has 2.6 seconds to make up if he wants to get back into the top 5 and take some points off the closest alumni driver to Reese Bayham in the championship.
And Pierce does have a lot fresher tires than Ferwetta. Ferwetta was one of the first guys that we saw come down pit road and grab tires, and Pierce was one of the guys who stayed out longer. So he has some fresher tires, and he's cutting into this lead as we speak in this lap. So I think he can get to him and get around him pretty handily.
Yeah, he's definitely doing his best. Down to 2.3, took 3/10 out of him just through that first little complex, that first chicane through 1, 2, and 3. Now down into turn 4 is, again, this is about the closest battle on the track anywhere right now. Just 2 seconds between these 2 drivers as Hanley continues to press forward and keep the pressure on. And for Ferwetta, this is a moment where I think it's got to be a little weird for him too, because you've got a driver in Pierce Hanley who you don't know much about. He hasn't really raced Pierce that much. Ferwetta, not a CIL sports car driver, so these two have not really crossed paths that much. And when you're going up against a guy who it's very clear that he's specialized in this discipline and very fast at this discipline too, as Pierce is, for Ferwetta, I think it's just a mindset of, man, I got to be a little careful here.
Yeah, well, I don't know how careful he can be. It looks like he's just going to be sitting there like a stolen duck while Pierce Hanley just drives around him. I mean, he's gotten right up to him this lap, down to under 2 seconds. And yeah, we have 2 battles on the track right now. You have Pierce Hanley and Brian Ferwetta, and you have Jake Cummings and pit road entrance.
Yeah, really.
Which one will break first? That's the question.
They've almost tricked me into feeling like I've forgotten a Jake Cummings pit stop at this point with where he's running. But we saw him; he was out in front of Alex Ortega and just never pitted from that point, and he couldn't have jumped Ortega if he also pitted. So just waiting to see that 95 down pit road, this strategy continues to just puzzle me. But he still has a good 38 seconds on Brian Ferretta, and then about 40 seconds on Hanley. So he's just doing his thing out there. As here's Logan down in 11th. Colby Goldschmidt managed to get by him earlier in the lap moments ago. As you see, Miguel Carrera is now behind Logan, looking to close up and make a move for 11th place.
Yeah, just so perfect. I mean, we saw that damage, and we don't know how much it's affecting the handling of the race car. We'll ask him once we get him after the race just how bad the handling was, if it changed at all. But probably just getting to the bumper of a car in front of him. We saw, the early laps, the first 3 laps, there was really a chain of cars, and I'm sure there was some bumping and whatnot. But
Well, there is Miguel Carrera. He spins it off the final corner. Let's take a look at the 77 car in 12th, who just had that incident. He gets it back going. He gets it straight, gets out of that final corner. But there go Ferretta and Hanley down onto the front stretches. Hanley has this down to a second now. So let's go with Pierce down this front stretches. He took almost a second out of Brian Ferretta on that last lap, Keegan.
Yeah, I mean, we've mentioned it, the fresher tires just, and I think Turn 1's a great example of these fresher tires. You can brake so much later on these tires and get so much better drive off corner 1 and set yourself up nicely for 2 and 3. This little switchback section right here, and I mean, you can see it just, so he had about 1.4 seconds going into that. He's down under 1 second. So 3/10 that in just those 3 turns, and I mean, Turn 1 here is just huge for tires, and not only that, but you get to brake sooner and all that.
Yeah, the rear tires are so big here. You're very rear limited. It's all about rear grip. Obviously, this middle part is where the lateral grip comes a bit more into play with the back and forth technical corners, but the entire stadium section is all about rear grip, getting off those slow corners, then off the final corner, and then your first sector with the chicane, and then that long hairpin turn, both also about rear grip, making sure your car can get up out of these corners. So the fresher your rear tires are and the better you take care of them, the better position you're going to be in. Is Hanley about 1.2 seconds behind Ferretta as we enter the stadium section here.
Yeah, and if you get in the top 5 and finish the top 5, you got to be thinking to yourself, what a day it could have been, I mean, the 3 moments off track, the spin out. I mean, he's worked it back up from a lot.
Even just for a team perspective, even if Hanley doesn't get maybe a result that he would have personally expected without the incidents, if he can get by Ferretta and take points off of the 2 guys nearest to Reese Bayham in the championship, that's a great asset for Auburn. And another guy who's taking points off someone right now, how about Andrew McGill in front of Tyler Skozen? He talked to me about being worried about the 105% rule and missing the race, and he's in 7th right now, ahead of the guy 2nd in the championship. Great day for Andrew.
Yeah, I mean, we're just going to tell him next time we have a meeting, be like, hey, worry all you want, man. I mean, you can keep telling us these storylines for us to talk about, which we appreciate. We have someone to talk about.
Oh, let's jump up to Hanley. Ferretta's had an issue. Hanley's only 0.3 of a second behind, as you see into turn number 4. Slow 1, 2, and 3 from Ferretta that time as Hanley's closed right up to him going through this middle sector. Ferretta's way wide. He's going to have to adjust there as that should let Hanley close in even more.
And Cummings has pit while we're watching this battle. So Cummings is on pit road with 10 to go.
We'll keep an eye on that as Cummings should come out somewhere around these 2 right here, actually, that being about a 30-second gap. So it'll be curious to see where these 2 go by the pit road as Hanley is going to try to close in through the stadium section. Once again, they've got Ryan Smith in front of them as Ferretta goes very wide through there. You see Ryan going through the hairpin. These 2 guys will follow him through. Pierce all over the back of this 248 as they're both going to follow Ryan through the final corner. And a great teammate move right there, maybe checking up Ferretta a little bit for Pierce as they both look to get off this final corner. Ryan going to stay out of the way of both Ferretta and his teammate as they go by. As Pierce, he's been so much better through 1, 2, and 3 as they're both going to get by. Jake Cummings in the pit, maybe.
Yep, they got by him. That was
there he goes right there. So Jake Cummings is actually further back. He's in the very back of your screen up there, that purple car in your background. So Jake Cummings comes out of the pit 6th, then you got to imagine he's going to be flying up to these guys with just 10 laps to go now on those fresh tires as we'll stay with Hanley trying to close in on Ferretta still. It seems like, excuse me, every couple of laps, it feels like Ferretta makes a mistake somewhere that Pierce is able to take advantage of. And it feels almost like a matter of time before the 248 slips up and up for this 33 to get by.
Yeah, I mean, from this angle, we'll be able to see perfectly when and where he is, if that were to be the case. But we've done this a few times. We've kind of seen it all night, where you get within like 2/10, 3/10. Oh, for what a wide, a little bit
Yeah,
there.
you had to cut turn 9 very short, and as a result, or went wide through 10. So here comes Hanley into the stadium section as we head towards turn 13. Ferwetta going to defend the inside. Possible switchback from Hanley, maybe. No, it's difficult to go side by side through there, so he's just going to stay right on him as to the left side, trying to make this corner as wide as possible, trying to build the run. Ferwetta's wide out of the corner, but he gets back to the gas. I think Hanley did it a little bit better, though. Here comes the 33 off the final corner. Ferwetta managed to get the power down in the later phase, though, and pull away there. I think maybe a little bit of a rough shift for Hanley coming out of the final corner is giving the 248 some breathing room as we head down towards turn number 1. Again, Jake Cummings is about 7 seconds behind these guys right now. Andrew McGill, okay, no, he's back to 7th. He faded out for a moment. I was worried we'd lost him from the race. It showed him in 17th, but he's still fine. Andrew's up in 7th. These two guys still battling as we head down towards the middle sector. Just a reminder of your leader right now. It's James Bowman, 5.6 seconds over Alex Ortega, a further 19 over Reese Bayham, and then almost 40 more seconds back to these two battling for the back end of the top 5, 4th and 5th. Your podium appears to be just about set in stone with 9 laps to go here, but these two guys are still right on each other trying to battle for 4th. And if I were either of these guys, I would be worried that this would maybe be the battle for 5th, as Jake Cummings has taken a second out of them in just the first half of this lap.
Yeah, if you're Pierce, you want to try and get by Ferwetta as quickly as possible before Cummings makes his way up to this battle. Makes it just more, now you have to contend with the guy behind you that you're trying not to let pass and a guy in front of you.
As Logan's gotten back by Colby Goldschmidt, but the 04 looking to close back as Logan's had a pretty good exit of the final corner there, brought it out to 0.5 of a second. Hanley's down to 0.3 as they exit the final corner. A little bit wide there from Hanley, but he's going to stay in the tire tracks, and I think I'm a little bit concerned that Pierce has used up a little too much of his rear tires. You've looked at these recent laps. It looks a little more difficult for him to stay on the back of Ferwetta. It looks like he's having a little bit more trouble putting the power down, but look at the braking zone from Hanley. He just kills Ferwetta into turn 1, and then they go through this corner. Hanley staying right on him as they open the gap back up, as he got a couple tenths in there, but gives up a little bit of that time as you see Jake Cummings has taken another second just in the back half of that lap. So about 2 seconds per lap for Jake Cummings right now on Hanley and Ferwetta. You see that 4.9 now down to 4.5. It is closing rapidly. Let's ride on board with Cummings through the middle sector. You can see what fresh tires do as cuts that one close. Then in near by the tire barriers through turn 7 over the curb. Stays tight to the left side into 8. Nice braking, clean over the curb again. Through turn 9 by the tire barrier. Open the track up all the way. Put the power down.
Using all the track.
Yeah.
Every square inch.
And he is flying through the stadium section. Turn number 12. You can wrap around this curb. You're not going to get any track limit stuff. Now into turn 13. The hairpin tight all the way near the barrier. Hops the curb. Then over through that second little kink into turn number 14 as he comes off of turn 15, looking to finish off this lap. It's down to just 4 seconds. Let's jump back ahead. Hanley is 0.2 behind Ferwetta as they head down towards turns 1, 2, and 3. Still within touching distance, just can't quite get close enough to make the move. And you got to wonder if Ferwetta's going to make a mistake as they're both squarely under braking there. You saw the back end twitching, maybe a little bit of wheel hopping, but Hanley gets through turn number 2 well, but I think Ferwetta's going to have a good run off of 3. Stabilizes the gap a little bit. They're still nose to tail headed towards turn 4, but they're still losing time to that 95 behind him as well, Keegan.
Yeah, I'm glad we were able to ride on board with Cummings that lap. I mean, I don't think we've seen a driver use that much of the track in just every corner that Cummings is using right now. Just impressive to watch. But yeah, I mean, if you're Pierce, you've kind of almost got to get by him now before this Jake Cummings car gets to you, makes it ever more difficult. Or, it could help you. If Cummings tries to get, if Cummings, let's say he flies around you because he's on fresher tires, then if he gets to Ferwetta in an awkward spot, you can maybe slot in right behind him. Yeah, let him make the hole. You just drive through it.
Well, there is Jake Cummings in the back of your screen. Has closed it down to almost just 3 seconds at this point. Hanley might have a chance here into the stadium section. thinking about side by side. Ferwetta's going to drive it in deep. Hanley's going to undercut him. He could have him into the last corner here. Ferwetta runs him off the road, but Hanley does a good job to stay straight on there and get through the final corner. Pierce Hanley up into 4th place. 2 Auburn cars in the top 4. Reese Bayham 3rd, Pierce Hanley 4th, as Brian Ferwetta will now be the first to deal with Jake Cummings, who is now just 2 seconds back. Cummings again in a rocket ship right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see this battle from. I mean, Pierce had probably about 8 or 9 fresher tires than Ferwetta. I mean, now it's nothing compared to what Cummings has on Ferwetta, but I mean, Ferwetta was able to hold his own against those fresher tires and proved to be a difficult car to pass. Well, let's just see how quickly this one happens, though.
Based on the pace of this 95, I think he's faster than just about anyone except maybe James Bowman today and Alex Ortegas. Ortegas closed in a couple seconds to Bowman, but still 5 seconds with 6 laps left. I don't think that's going to be an issue as Pierce goes wide. Pierce wide through turn 4. A car snapped on him in the middle of the corner. He had to save it as Ferwetta gets back through, and Hanley trying to stay with him now through the middle sector as Cummings now just 1.3 back. He's going to be an issue for Pierce quickly as Ferwetta is going to lose a little bit of time through the exit of turn 10.
Oh, look at the drive.
Here comes Pierce again. You mentioned the drive off the corner. He's going to go wide. He's going to fake to the outside, go to the inside. Going to have to back off, go back to the racing line. Ferwetta really uses all the exit of that corner, is now into the hairpin here in the stadium section. Hanley going to do a copycat move, what we saw the last lap. Does Ferwetta give him the space on the outside this time? Yes, he does. Hanley going to try to do the switchback maybe through turn 15. No, Ferwetta covers it off well, and now Jake Cummings is right behind him. These two guys are going to have an issue in just a couple of corners in that 95 car, who is now less than half a second behind him. You see him in the shot now.
We've mentioned turn 1 all day with these fresher tires. Watch how much you can just outbrake them. It's going to get very interesting to see if he tries to force something here or just kind of let it play
Well, you
out.
see Hanley poking to the inside, trying to get his nose in on Ferwetta. Ferwetta goes a bit wide. Was there contact? Hanley has to save it. Cummings is right behind him. Hanley going to keep it straight through 1, 2, and 3, but Cummings gets by Ferwetta. Not sure if there was contact between Hanley and Ferwetta there. I think Ferwetta just outbraked himself slightly trying to defend that move, but Pierce then almost lost it through turn number 2. Did a good job to gather it back up, and he'll hang on to 4th. But for how much longer, as Jake Cummings is right on the back of him now, just about 8/10 back, and the fastest car on the track right now, despite Alex Ortega having the fastest lap from earlier in this race. I think the fastest car on the racetrack is that 95.
Yeah, and I mean, these tires, he's probably in the sweet spot on them right now, just heating up at the right moment. As we look aboard, Andrew McGill still sitting top 10 in the 7th position right now, under pressure from Tyler Skozen a little bit, who's 1 second behind.
Yeah, Skozen, obviously we know, is a very quick driver. McGill has been just solid today as we cut back up to Jake Cummings, trying to close down on Hanley. And here's where I think the drive-off might kill Hanley a little bit, with the fresher tires out of this final corner, where it's so key to just be able to apply that rear grip. As here comes Cummings out of the final corner, 0.6 of a second now as we head towards turns 1, 2, and 3. We saw this be an issue for Hanley last time. Had a bit of a snap, but you mentioned the braking zone power that you get with these new tires. We'll see what the difference is as Hanley's going to try to defend. Here we see into turn 1. Look at the closing from Cummings as he's going to stay right behind Pierce through 2. Now through 3, Hanley doing a good job to defend. You see those rear tires complaining, though, on the 33, wanting to kick out at the side as they go by, as both of these guys have left Brian Ferwetta a little bit at this point, but I think it's clear Cummings is faster as Hanley goes wide into 4. Cummings is going to be under him, maybe. No, Pierce just holds on as we head in through turns 5 and now through turns 6 and 7. Cummings still right on the back of Hanley. Now to turn 8, such a difficult corner, you got to get it right. And then through turn 9, difficult to stay on traction. They've both done it as Cummings looking for the move maybe into the stadium section on Pierce Hanley. We head towards turn number 11 through here now into the hairpin of 12 as Cummings is a little bit further back, but there the 04 goes wide. Colby Goldschmidt goes wide, lets it by. There goes Cummings. Cummings gets by as Hanley went a little bit wide through turn number 13. Going to try to fight this back on the outside. Going to try to hang there. But I think the rear grip from Cummings is going to be just a little too much. They're going to be side by side down the front straightaway. But I think what we've seen from Cummings into the braking zone in turns 1, 2, and 3, he should be able to get this. We'll stay on with these two as we head down towards turn number 1. What can Hanley do, if anything, to fight back? Cummings into the braking zone. Hanley just going to stay right behind him as Cummings parks it on the apex turn 2. Good defensive driving, and now going to cement that 4th place heading down towards turn number 4 in the 95 car. Gets it done with 3 to go. Good move from Jake Cummings.
Yep, that's pass complete probably, unless Pierce has something. But we've just seen, and Pierce is the only one. All these drivers, 2 laps, 3 laps to go. All these drivers just praying, hold on, hold on, hold on. These tires, I need 3 more laps out of you. I mean, they're fighting their rear tires left to right, squirrely and not, loose and not loose. I mean, just the last 3 laps, these are going to be a handful.
As here's Andrew McGill again. Andrew has lost the position to Tyler Skozen as we were watching that battle with Pierce and Jake Cummings, as this is Reese Bayham actually looking to lap Andrew. And talk about a statement in the championship if Reese can get by and lap Tyler Skozen, the guy closest to him as well. Talk about a statement.
Yeah, I mean, that sends a message. I mean, that's like, hey, if y'all let me get away with this, if y'all let me just run away with this, I'll do it, but I kind of want some competition.
Yeah, he's been great today, has Reese. Obviously not quite on the pace of the front 2, but no one really has been today, as he's 22 seconds back of 2nd place right now. But I think McGill is going to be happy with an 8th place. Talking to him previously, we've mentioned him being worried heading into this one. Is now Reese going to get by? Little blue flags there as Andrew will hop out of the way, and Reese laps his teammate there. But your Auburn running order is, we're now at 2 to go. It is Reese Bayham, who you see right now in 3rd place. Then who your camera's on right at the moment is that 034 of Andrew McGill, who runs 8th. So those are your 2 alumni drivers for Auburn right now, 3rd and 8th. And then your Auburn students today, Pierce Hanley runs 5th in his first CIL Cup Series event of the season. Solid top 5 for Hanley. Had a couple mistakes, but overall, good run for him. Logan Smith is holding on to a top 10 position right now. We saw an issue for Colby Goldschmidt that got him way back further as he had to get out of the way for that battle between Hanley and Jake Cummings as Logan's holding on to 10th. And then Ryan Smith down in 16th right now has managed to keep that car clean for most of the day, which I think Ryan will absolutely take. Talking to him previous about his concerns. But with now 0 laps to go, let's jump up to the leader in James Bowman as he will head through the stadium section
one last time
for the final time. As you said, Keegan, last week at Darlington, it was extremely close for James Bowman. Couldn't quite get it done, lost out to Aaron Brown. Middle of last week, CIL Sports Car Series, lost out, wrecked himself. Pierce Hanley took that one home. No one to deny him today. Undercut to the lead. James Bowman wins here at Mexico City. Gets Alex Ortega by 3.8 seconds. Dominant drive from the number 18, the Kentucky driver today. Alex Ortega will come home second, and Jake Cummings will complete, Reese Bayham will complete your podium. I missed Bayham on the scoring monitor there for a moment, but Auburn does bring home a podium. Let's cut to Reese, bring him home as he looks to finish this one off in that 3:34. Bayham will extend his championship lead. You see him over the line.
I mean, just what we expect week in and week out from Bayham at this point.
Extremely consistent from that 3:34, and Jake Cummings will bring home a 4th place. We'll ride on with Pierce Hanley in 5th to bring him home, and the number 33 as well as, oh my goodness, chaos through the stadium section as Hanley.
Hey, you race to the checkered flag.
Yeah, Hanley lapping his teammate there of Logan Smith as these 2 Auburn guys will bring their cars home as well. Good top 5 for Pierce Hanley. 2 Auburn cars in the top 5. 4 Auburn cars in the top 10. Logan Smith brings it home 10th. Andrew McGill brings it home 8th. And then Ryan Smith, decent day as well, brings it home almost in the top 15 and 16th. So for a race that none of these guys felt extremely confident about, how about 4 top 10s?
Oh, and a burnout. You'd love to see it. A lot of misfortune last few weeks, and he's celebrating. He's like, I got this one. I earned this one. And yes, you
Yeah.
did, James Bowman. Burn it down.
I'd absolutely burn it down too if I had two that I felt like slipped away from me in the previous week. As James Bowman is your winner here at Mexico City. But let's see if we can talk to a couple of our Auburn drivers today as we'll look to pull in Reese Bayham here first. Hey, Reese, it's Mike and Keegan here on the broadcast. You got us?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Reese, so podium finish today at Mexico. I know the entire team was a little concerned coming into this one, but you guys ended up bringing home 4 top 10s today, and then you extend your championship lead, beat Tyler Skosen, beat Brian Ferwetta, and then your teammate Pierce Hanley did you a favor too, knocking some points off those guys as well. So overall, how'd you feel today?
Yeah, I felt good. I thought I would have pretty decent pace coming in, and yeah, it certainly showed. Unfortunately, just didn't have anything for James or Alex. I mean, those guys were side rocket ships. Just didn't have anything for them. But yeah, it was a good, clean race. Just kind of out on my own little island there for pretty much all of it. So it was good.
Yep, well, only 3 races left now to go this season. Maybe time to start thinking about what you can do to defend this championship lead. You came in at 38 points. You'll extend to over 40 after today. 3 events left. One of them a bit of a chaotic option in Echo Park Speedway, but then Old Atlanta and then Homestead left. How are you feeling with the championship lead going into these final 3 events?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, next week's is a bit of a wild card. You don't know what's going to happen. But I feel like I've had good pace at all the mile and a half so far, and I really like Homestead as a track. So looking forward to that one to close it out for sure.
All right, well, thank you for talking to us, Reese. Congratulations on the podium again. Have a good night, War Eagle.
War Eagle.
As now we'll look to bring in our other top 5 finisher here, Pierce Hanley.
Let's do it.
Hey, Pierce, it's Mike and Keegan here on the broadcast. You got us?
Yep.
Well, top 5 finish in your first CIL Cup Series start. I know there were a couple hairy moments out there, but still managed to bring home the top 5, and you took some points off your teammate Reese Bayham's biggest championship rivals, too, finishing in front of both Tyler Skosen and Brian Ferwetta. So, overall, how'd you feel out there today?
Terrible.
Yeah, we saw a few little moments from you, having to battle the rear end of the car, getting scrolly a little bit, but you bounce back every time. So
Yeah, I'm not a cup driver. It's the second race I've ever done in that car, and I've never done it on a road course, and all the practicing I did was hot lapping. I never practiced it with crappy old tires, and it really showed as soon as they were getting really hot. I was struggling out there.
Yeah, we talked about the difference between your more nimble GT3s that are used to driving versus these that we kind of described as boats. Would you say that's a accurate statement? Boats with no rear grip?
Oh yeah, that hairpin is atrocious in this car. I hated it every single lap, all 45 times. I hated it.
well, Pierce, you ran your road course in a cup car. Now let's get you a taste of what the cup cars are really about. Let's get you to run an oval with these
Oh,
last 3 races
gosh.
we have. What do you say?
I told them I might do it. I might have to.
I think we got to see you in it, man. Let's do it.
Listen, if we can get you in taking more points off of Reese's championship adversaries, I think he'd really appreciate that as well. But if you're going to feel terrible and run P5, imagine what you might start doing when you feel good at these things. So, congratulations on the top 5 tonight, Pierce, War Eagle.
War Eagle, appreciate it, guys.
All right, now let's see if we can talk to Andrew. I'm excited to see what Andrew has to say after coming home P8 in a race he was really scared about. So let's pull him in. Hey, Andrew, Mike and Keegan here on the YouTube broadcast. You got us?
I got you guys.
Well, I felt like all week I was talking to you and you were worried about the 105% rule even making the show. Some issues with the car. You felt like you couldn't get the handle on it until just a couple days ago. How about bringing home a top 10 in this thing? You had a good qualifying effort. You were running 6th or 7th for a lot of this race and then ended up still with a top 10 in 8th. So were you a bit happy with yourself today?
Oh, absolutely, guys. I just shared with our team that's actually the first road course race I've ever done in a cup car. Didn't want to tell them that before the race. It's been a long time since I've done that in a stock car. I did an ARCA race. I'm at India a long time ago, but I have just never really done road course racing in the cup cars. If I do any road racing, it's in the GT3s, but or the LMP2. So Really, really happy with it. I felt like SVG out there with hair, so was feeling pretty quick there for a little while. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, we got to get you to stop worrying before the races. You were worried last week because you had a little illness. You're worried this week, and you turn up another top 5. I mean, what are you worried about now?
I guess I need to get some more confidence, but the last 2 weeks have felt really good. I'm really, really happy in all seriousness with our team's preparation. We knew that this was obviously going to be a little bit different week with the road course situation, and I don't know that any of us had actually ever done a race at this track before, so it was new to us. We practiced a lot. Also want to shout out Lars in there with us tonight as a race engineer. He was really helping us out, keeping us informed on when folks were pitting. I was going to run a little bit longer, but I knew that the car behind me was trying to pull an undercut there. So that was good to know and help me out. And I came out in a good spot. So really appreciate Lars doing that and all the folks to help us out with the engineering side of things, and had a lot of fun tonight.
Well, you mentioned the total team performance as well. One thing Keegan and I were talking about, you mentioned SVG. Well, how about the teams on SVG there and the road course specialist and Pierce Hanley coming in, and he took some points off of Reese's biggest championship adversaries in Brian Ferwetta and Tyler Skozen. How valuable is that for you guys moving forward to have a guy that can come in for the right turns and take some points out of this championship?
Oh, it's incredible. It's really awesome. I'm really thankful for Pierce for doing that. I was telling him earlier, like maybe this would inspire some of our other road course ringers to come in there because and if they never put a cap on this league and we really, really have a lot of guys turn out, I mean, we could probably field 12 cars in this race. So that'd be really awesome if we could do something like that one day. So really appreciative of Pierce. But I do want to make it sure everyone is aware and they saw that I did out-qualify him. So just make sure that's
believe
out
me,
there
we
for the
touched
record.
on it before the race started.
Yeah, I was giving a hard time. I was like, just so you know, I know that you're going to beat me in the race, but I can at least say I started ahead of you. So there we go.
Well, congratulations on the good run tonight, Andrew. Appreciate the time. War Eagle.
Thanks, guys. War Eagle.
All right, and then finally we'll pull in Logan Smith here, who also brought home a top 10 today. Hey, Logan, Mike and Keegan here on the YouTube broadcast. You got us?
Yeah, I gotcha.
So top 10 today. I know we were talking to all you guys before the race, and a lot of you guys were concerned about potential pace. I know Andrew was pleasantly surprised himself. Reese brought home a podium. Then Pierce brought home a top 5, took some points off of his championship rivals as well. And then you brought home a top 10 as well after starting from the pit lane today. Overall, how'd you feel out there?
Yeah, I mean, my pace was about what I was expecting it to be after practice, but yeah, it was just survival, just a game of survival. I started from the pits to try to avoid as much chaos as possible, and I think some people were getting frustrated and pushing it too hard and wrecking themselves out, and some of them were just like quitting whenever they wrecked. So I don't know if I made really many actual passes on the track, but just keeping my head down and keeping everything pointed straight got me a top 10 out of it. So I will gladly take that as a solid points day, and we'll move on to something a lot more comfortable for me and a lot more familiar next week at Atlanta.
Yep, just 3 races left in the season. You've got the Super Speedway configuration for Atlanta, then Old Atlanta, and Homestead. So we head back toward the ovals. How are you feeling about the last stretch of the season?
Yeah, I feel great about Atlanta next week. I think it's going to be a good race. We'll see if we can survive. I haven't really done a lot of practice in the old configuration in this car, so I'm very curious to see how this car behaves on the old configuration. I think tire wear is going to be really crucial, and trying to keep the right front on the thing. But yeah, we'll see what that holds whenever we get closer to it. And Homestead is one of the greatest tracks on the planet. I love Homestead, so can't wait for these next 3. This is going to be a good stretch of fun tracks, and hopefully we stay lucky and stay out of trouble.
All right, well, thanks for taking the time to talk to us. Also, quick congratulations on your guy Chase Elliott bringing home the Cup Series win on Sunday. So maybe some good luck for you entering in the road course. Brought home the top 10 today after that as well. But thank you for the time, Logan. War Eagle.
Yes, sir. War Eagle.
Well, Micah, we have called our final right turns of the CIL NASCAR series this season.
Yes, the first and last right turns of the season. Thank you all for joining us tonight. Again, rundown of your Auburn finishing order. Reese Bayham comes home in a podium spot in third. Pierce Hanley in his first CIL Cup race of the season comes home fifth. Andrew McGill with his outstanding qualifying effort brings it home eighth. And then Logan Smith also in the top 10. Ryan Smith down in 16th today as well after he was concerned about missing the race entirely. So I think Ryan would absolutely be happy with that performance himself as well. But as we mentioned, just 3 races remaining. We'll be back next week at Echo Park Speedway, the super speedway configuration at Atlanta, then Old Atlanta, and then Homestead to round out the season as God intended. But thank you all for tuning in. For Keegan Miller, I've been Micah Farmer. We'll be back next week for more CIL